there, and welcome back to Monday Morning Jumpstart. So this week, we're going to tackle something that threatens to derail us in the pursuit of our goals, that anxiety that comes from evaluating our own progress and speed, or feeling like we're not seeing enough progress, or even feeling like we're already failing, even though the year has only started. If this has happened to you, or even if you fear that it might, don't worry, we've got you covered today. So Ted, we are already a month into the new year, and many of us are starting to feel a little bit anxious about where we are so far. Like, have we done enough? Help, help us.
Yeah. Well, Rebecca, this is probably a deep topic, and it could be different for everybody. But when I hear you say this thing that could creep up on us and this anxiety, what I put forth today, and I'd love to hear what you'd have to say about this, Rebecca. When I coach leaders, and one of the things that I often coach leaders, and I say to them, leadership is a journey about self as much as it is anything else. And here on this platform, what I'd say, life is a journey about self as much as it is anything else. So your dreams of this writer's life, this thing, we just worked through 3 weeks of talking about reflection and goals and vision, and then all of a sudden anxiety and self-doubt and all these things start creeping in. And so one of the things that I would be encouraging people to do right now, because you noticed that I raised my hand when you talked about that first couple of weeks of anxiety, because people come in gangbuster into a new year and we're going to do all these things. And then all of a sudden, all these things about self start creeping in. One of the things that I religiously say that I want people to focus on this week is expectations are the root of all heartache. And I just think it's a deep statement that we have to pay attention to. Our biggest critics in most cases are ourselves. We are our biggest critics. We set unprecedented expectations on ourselves, right? We went through the exercise, and we talked about it in the last segment about making attainable goals. The question is, did you really make attainable goals? And what kind of pressure are you putting on yourself to go reach those goals? What is your definition? Am I being successful enough? Well, have you defined success, or are you looking at your neighbor and letting them to define success for you? There's so many things that creep in. That's why I said it's just a very deep topic coming in, this anxiety and this self-doubt. But this is all about self. And so what I want you to become more aware of is, when are you self-imposing things or when are you imposing things on yourself that you shouldn't be? Perhaps you need to just slow down and reset expectations in the current state, right? Like, for example, if you went into the holiday season at the end of 21 thinking like, oh, this is going to be such a great break and I'm going to be able to connect with everybody and do all that, you probably had a bummer of a holiday. I use prom. Prom is a great one. Everybody can't wait for senior prom, and it's going to be the best night of my high school career. Well, if your prom was anything like mine, my expectations were so high, my prom was wah wah. It's because my expectations were way up here. I didn't know how to, what I'm proposing today. I didn't know how to reset expectations going into the year. And I think sometimes just really resetting expectations that you have put on yourself will help reduce some of that anxiety. So I'd love to feel that, kind of hear where
how we do that. I think of New Year's Eve, like, New Year's Eve when I was young was always supposed to be this like big baddest party ever, and then it was like, oh my gosh, can the ball just drop already so we can go? It just never meets what I want it to be.
But if you think about that, it's a good example in the sense that reset the expectations. Like, I can tell you, going into New Year's Eve, I have 8, 9-year-old boys. I started the day before setting the expectations that we were going to be in bed by 10. But then we started talking about what we were going to do up till 10, and we got jazzed and we were going to do it. And guess what? It was a great night. And there was no complaining that we weren't going to stay up till midnight like all their friends were going to do. We had set the expectation. So it's actually a good example. And what I'm proposing that you all going to have to look internally of where you're imposing these, unrealistic expectations on yourselves, and therefore causing yourself stress, and in many instances, self-doubt. So,
and self-doubt, we got a couple things to tackle on here then, because I would love to know how to reset those expectations. So how can we kind of assess how do we define even the expectations that we put on ourselves? Because sometimes I don't even think we're conscious of that. But then, I mean, self-doubt, just so you guys know, I've been in this industry almost 25 years. Ted's been around a little bit longer than me, and we still have times of self-doubt. It's something that is worth acknowledging and getting comfortable with, that it just pops up, and usually it's a sign of something else that's happening. But if that happens to you, don't feel like, oh, great, here we go again. The other thing that you said at the beginning, which I wanted to touch on, is just the word progress. That if you have even followed along with these Monday morning jump starts, and that's all you've done for the last 3 weeks, you have probably made more progress than 80-90% of the people out there, because you are taking steps forward. If I sit on my couch and one day dream of becoming a writer, losing weight, whatever the thing is, that's maybe a step forward. But actually thinking about and making a plan and figuring out and making commitments and making SMART goals, all the things we've been talking about, I'm much further down the path than I was when I had the idea sitting on my couch. So I think even that is, there's expectations, and there's also the reality of, I have looked further. Maybe we start where we started this Monday Morning Jumpstart series earlier last month, and we look back a little bit at the last month, what has happened in the last month, and reflect on where we've come so far at this point in the journey.
Yeah, well, you're nailing it, Rebecca. This idea of people coming into a new year and they're all cylinders, right? And for me, I often talk about the 1% rule and just leaning into things. If you remember back a couple segments, I talked about what I realized in my reflection was I wasn't really doing the exercises that a 50-year-old man should be doing, right? All I'm doing, I added 10 minutes at the end of every workout. That's all I'm doing right now, current state. 10 minutes, I'm on the ball, doing core work, and I'm stretching. Progress, to your point. Does that cause me any anxiety because I don't have time? I don't have time to do all that. Nope. 10 minutes is all I did. And it's making the world of difference.
Actually, if you can touch on the 1%, I think I know where you're going with that, but we haven't talked about it. I think that would be useful, because I think it actually reduces expectations a lot lower without us even having to try to reduce expectations.
It's true. It's 1% basically, and it's not like literally 1%. It's not that. It's about small incremental changes. And so, when I use the working out, I say, if you're working out 20 minutes, just start working out 21. If current state, you're not writing but 2 days a week, map out 20 minutes on Friday to write. That's it. If you're not writing any emails to any prospects, any potential people that could be clients of yours to write, just say one time a week that you're going to get on LinkedIn, research a company that could be in your niche, and send them a message on LinkedIn. Just one, not 15, not 20. How am I going to get all these clients? Nope, just one. And that's that slow progress of doing things over and over again. It starts to ease. What happens is the emotional, you get connected. I can do this. And that snowball effect, all of a sudden you're writing 2 a week. And the next thing you know, you're waking up on Monday morning going, I got this flow. And now all of a sudden you're writing 3 on Monday morning. But it's this idea of leaning into slow and incremental change. Most people, I mentioned a couple segments ago, they're going left. If people would have went early on, by Valentine's Day, people are not in the gym anymore. If people would have leaned into that and just said, I'm gonna take it slow. I'm gonna just go to the gym and I'm gonna walk for 20 minutes twice a week, and then they called a rhythm, they probably would have not fallen off the treadmill per se by Valentine's Day.
It's
such
an
an important concept.
And you use the word confidence. Like, I think about my kids at school, and they were really hammering home about how important it is for them to read 20 minutes a day. And I was like, yeah. And then all of a sudden one day I was thinking about work and talking about writing every day. And it did kind of hit me that 20 minutes is 100 minutes per week. It's 450 to 500 minutes per month.
That's it.
Just imagine every single month that my kids read, their confidence boomed. My daughter's now reading Harry Potter, which is just mind blowing to me that she's now confidenced up to something that would, if I had told her, hey, the goal is to read this 700-page book. If I had told her that 2 years ago when she really started taking on reading, she would have said, like, what? If I had asked her 2 months in, the goal is here to read the 700-page book, and she was reading graphic novels, like comic books, she would have said, I'm never going to get there. I can just barely read the graphic novel, right? But reading, just being confident in the fact that it's 1%, just adding on every single day. She got bigger, faster, stronger. She moved from graphic novels to just novels with pictures all the way up to the Harry Potter series. And now she's reading them like, can I keep reading? I need more minutes. I want to do this longer, because the confidence built. It's the same kind of thing here. The expectation is not that by month 1, you're reading Harry Potter. The expectation is that by month 1, you're still reading for 20 minutes a day and gaining confidence.
Yeah. The other thing I'd say to this topic is that, and this is the deeper end of the pool that will probably require longer conversations, but this idea of being easy on yourself, right? Like, we are just hard on ourselves.
Yes.
And it requires real work. Now, some of the things that we've already talked about this past month about vision, if you root yourself in vision, you'll be able to shut down the world around you. And the reason I'm mentioning the world around you is sometimes these outside influences, we compare ourselves to other people. We allow, our parents' influence on us to dictate our vision and all that. If you really own your vision, you will be more convicted in it and be able to define success and therefore be less. And I'm telling you this through experience. It's not that I don't allow the world to influence me many days, but I will tell you I'm convicted in my vision. So there's not all this outside noise anymore, which in result allows me to be easier on myself. I know exactly where I'm going and I have a plan to get there. And I'm not overshooting or undershooting. I'm right where I need to be, but that requires a lot of work. That's why I said that second week here that, hey, if you're not crystal clear on your vision, that's okay. It's going to need refining, but I really want you to be easier on yourself. And I know that may sound cliche or wonky to you, but this is a big one and it requires a lot of self-work, which is why I said it's the deeper end of the pool. We're hard on ourselves, but I want you to find out why you're hard on yourselves. Is it your insecurities? Is it you're allowing other people to dictate your vision? There's a lot to that. But this is what needs to be done if we're going to be able to, because what you said, Rebecca, about anxiety and all that, self-doubt, those are probably the biggest obstacles to people reaching their goals. Truth be told, when you peel it all the way back, those things are the things that really get in our way. It's not that we're not capable. It's not that we don't have the energy. It's not that we don't have the time. We use those all as excuses. But when you peel it back, oftentimes it's the stuff that you've already mentioned.
I think that's powerful. So I think our takeaway and homework assignment for this week, and I was just thinking, like, what will be the homework assignment? But then you just said it. And that is, why are you being hard on yourself? If you're listening to this session and you came into this saying like, yes, I have anxiety, I'm not moving far enough, I'm not moving fast enough, I haven't made enough progress yet, all the stuff, think about the expectations you've put on yourself. Identify those first. Are they realistic? And then identify, why are you being so hard on yourself right now?
Well, that's deeper in the pool. I'm just
right next to that, I would say is, what are you going to do about it? Like, you have to do something, right? Like, so what is that? What can they do to reduce that feeling of, Well,
you're going to have to reset some things. I mean, I said deeper into the pool, and what you just said there that's deep stuff that may require people to be gut level honest, as I've used that before. But when you start saying, why am I being so hard on yourself? And all of a sudden you say, wow, it's because my mother never approved me. We got some work to do there. And I know I'm taking it to the deep end of the pool, but I'm saying, if people are being honest, sometimes when they ask that question, why am I being so hard on yourself? You're going to have, there's some real stuff that could come up for people. And that's the stuff that sometimes you have to deal with. So in that instance, I would say, well, you got to rid that. It's not about your mother's life anymore. This is about your life. And I'm going to point you back to your vision. Who owns your vision? Your mother or you?
Oh, we have much more power than we think that we do. That's so great.
True.
This is the perfect end for this. So guys, thank you for joining us again today. If you have any questions, comments, put them down below. If you have any questions that you'd like us to cover in future sessions, if something comes up when you're asking yourself about why you're so hard on yourself with these expectations, let's dig in and address it. We're going to be with you all year here on Monday Morning Jumpstart. Thanks, Ted. We'll see you next week.